Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black in again. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. And with me on your screen, you're probably going to need a flashlight to find that share button. So I'm going to give a shout out to Charles Rowe III on Facebook. I'm going to say this right quick. This is about the lady that bragged about getting a body count of 140 in a year on Tinder. I want to say this about not just her, but any woman that gets to that level. One of the issues here is that you got three motives that women have for doing something like that. There are three. Two of them we can all understand. A lot of us have never really known what the third motive is. This is going to really bake your noodle. One reason is that a woman has a high libido, maybe even a sexual addiction. Otherwise, most of them don't want that many men. I mean, she averaged 12 dudes a month. And let's say there's a week that she shouldn't have been doing it, the 1 week out each month. So that's averaging 4 a week for 3 weeks. And then let's assume taking a break for that other week. Oh my God. That's a lot. I mean, that's pretty much every work day except one each week, and then taking a break 1 week out the month. That's what that comes down to. It's Monday. It's Tuesday. It's Wednesday. It's Thursday. Okay, I'll take a break Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, this week is the week to take a break. That's what that's like. That's like pretty much any night you might not go to the club, you're going to hook up with someone on Tinder. Then Sunday, you just stay home, watch TV. That's what that's like. Now, that's if you have a sexual addiction. Think about this. Most women ain't going to see 12 dudes an entire month. In an entire month, they ain't going to see 12 dudes they like. We know women are picky. So a sexual addiction would logically explain something like this. We cannot rule it out, but there's evidence against that being her motive. Women who have high libidos and sexual addictions don't necessarily brag about that to everybody. Now, let's take another one. Financial. A lot of people know about that. A lot of you gentlemen who are employed know women that are unemployed or underemployed, struggling to pay rent and bills that ain't going down in this economy. And a lot of you cats are cashing in on it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do it. As a Muslim, I'm not allowed to endorse it, but I know what's going on. I mean, frankly, if I wasn't Muslim, I probably would be. I take that back. I wouldn't. I might do something like that with about 2 or 3 a year. Maybe if I wasn't Muslim. But I think about it, no, I don't think I'd be able to just dig out strangers like that. Because quiet as it's kept, most of us men aren't really capable of just giving it up to a stranger like that. Something kicks in when that happens. Some alarm goes off in your head. Why is she going along with this? No, this is a setup. Most of you, if you're going to cash in, you're going to do it with someone you kind of know, at least someone you know is not into robbing and wouldn't just, whose motive is that they need and not because they caught this bug that they want to hurry up and pass on to you out of vengeance. Most of you that are cashing in, you ain't cashing in with complete strangers. You don't feel you men oftentimes don't feel any more comfortable giving it up to a stranger you don't really know that well than women do. It's actually harder for you many times than it is for women. Because you're the one that has to trust her enough to stretch your junk out without knowing her. That's something you got to do. It's not something that she has to get herself up to do. She may not be able to get wet for a stranger, but then again, she could. Now that leaves, and here's the thing. I mean, she didn't say anything about financial troubles. She probably wouldn't brag about something like that while it was going on either. And she wouldn't brag about being a sex addict per se. Now that leaves the third motive. Oh, that third motive. Let me tell you guys, that third motive is insulting as hell. And that is exactly why a woman, even with the feminist mindset, would brag about something like this. She's not doing this when the third motive is something different. A woman simply wants to be a hoe and be a thought. She simply wants to be what men would not tell her to become. That's all it is. Online dating puts a bunch of dudes at women's fingertips. They swipe, swipe, and swipe left on a whole bunch, swipe right. But the reason that a woman would do this, the third reason a woman would have for doing this is simply to become a slut so that they can still turn around and belittle the men. They can further belittle the men that they don't sleep with. See, if a woman says, I screwed 140 guys last year, then every man she disses is even it's even a bigger stab. Now, in this climate, she's not really going to be shamed for that much anymore, especially by other women. It's going to be dudes that might have something to say about it. But what she can do is simply say, well, you're one of the few guys I wouldn't screw anyway. That's what she's able to do. And this way, you get doubly insulted because remember, gentlemen, to be sexually turned down by a slut is a double insult. And it's even more so if you didn't make a move. If you weren't trying. Why are you being so loose? You just mad because I wasn't effing you. And they're going to say it loudly. They want everyone to see it. And this is one thing they always say whenever any men say something about standards of any type of sexual purity regarding women. Are you just mad because she was not impure with you? That's what you ticked off about. I'm going to say this. If a man is upset about that, he would have a right to be. Not that he owns her drawers per se. But a man would have a right to be if he cannot go out and rack up the same body count in a year. And we know most men will not rack that up in their lifetimes. She simply went through the carousel a bit more quickly than other women. She simply took charge of the process that gets you into the bed, said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and race through them. That's all. I'm not even really going to hear what they got to say. I'm not really going to give them much of an opportunity to talk themselves out of it. I'm just going to go ahead and race through them. DTF, DTF, DTF. Okay, I got you down for Tuesday. Check, got you down for Wednesday. Got you down for Thursday. Bang, bang. That's what it is. Doing it just to spite men. Simply to spite men as a whole. Whether there's a sexual addiction underlying the reason or not doesn't matter. That third motive is definitely there, and that is nothing other than malice towards most of us. That's all it is. She simply went through the guys she wants to more quickly so that she can turn to those of us that she doesn't want and many other women would not, which is most men, and then can say you're just mad because, and when she's ready to settle down, she knows she's insulting some poor sap just by being with that guy, insulting that man, not even telling him, knowing her past and never saying a word to him about it, knowing full well ain't no dude gonna come with a past like hers unless he was in porn. This chick is literally not compatible anymore with any man that's not doing porn. It takes Ron Jeremy to be on her level at this point. Maybe, and I mean a veteran like him, someone that was in the game back years ago, decades ago, before I was even Muslim. Maybe someone like, there's one that directs, well, I guess he was a director. I forgot his name. Anyway, baldhead black dude. He did some interviews, I think, on Vlad TV. Mentioned something about actually being and producing too. So he had some and this is his own estimate, some unusually high body count. It's going to take dudes like this to qualify to deserve someone like her. And that's what that's going to take. And as we know, them cats ain't settling down. I mean, the one bald-head black man, the one that was a director, he actually got married to a starlet. I remember that. He said something about her accusing, in the interview, he said something about her accusing him of actually being into dudes, and he never was. And so this shows that you can actually be a hetero porn star and producer or director, whatever else he was doing, be married, and when it don't work out and it's a sister, she gonna accuse even you of that. That's what that shows. But this lady is pretty much, all she's really doing is intentionally ruining herself for any man that would settle down with her. And it's almost like she's doing this as a punishment for that man. She doesn't understand that in today's time, she is putting herself out of the market. She went on camera. She thinks ain't no man, and she has a chance of being correct. She thinks ain't no man gonna remember or recognize her. She thinks the men that she wasn't screwing are stupid. That's what that is. She thinks the men that she and other women ain't doing are just gonna be so desperate that they gonna settle for her if they do remember. Because she's heard stories like Superhead's story. I forgot what her real name is. Apparently she got married. She may have even been inspired somewhat by Sierra's story, but Sierra ain't got nothing on this woman. I don't know about how many men Superhead been with, but even Sierra ain't got nothing on this lady. But because of these stories of these women that on or off camera are just buck furthermucking wild and getting these high body counts and still finding husbands that actually have something to offer. I mean, husbands that certainly are otherwise better than these women with their past. This lady here on Tinder thinks, okay, well, I can still retire. And she knows the insult that this is to whatever man settles down with her, even if he doesn't know, but especially if he does. She's aware of that, and that's where MOT is absolutely correct. These reptiles know that they're reptiles, and they know that they're trying to use otherwise undeserving men for their retirement plans. They know this. And I can't really sit up and point a finger at these men too much so, because it's not like you always know someone's body count. However, in her case, she has underestimated the probability of men wising the uck up. Whenever it reaches critical mass, I don't know when that's going to be, but whenever this awareness of us reaches critical mass amongst Western black males, that's going to be it. She ain't going to be able to get no brothers. And even then, I don't think she's going to be able to, I don't think she's going to be able to get Zaddy at that point either. Because I'm sure they're going to see this and share that video. And this is going to mean she's probably going to have to get a husband from somewhere else that's really not that good in English. Some man whose job keeps him well out of the way. That's what's going to happen to her. That's all she's got waiting on her, nothing else. And we need to make sure it stays that way. This is why we have to spread this kind of awareness. Not just this kind of awareness, but we need to spread videos like this. The best look at her face you can possibly get. Whatever her name is, I don't know what it is, but whatever the name is, put that out there as well. Because they're going to get older and try to retire off of some man that they would have never swiped right on at her age right now. Never. That they would have never allowed to form that carousel they've been riding. And that's most of us. Most of us. Ain't even no shame in the fact that most of us ain't on the carousel. It's so many of us that ain't on it, that aren't allowed to be a part of it. And a lot of us would not really be that enthusiastic to be on the carousel anyway. It sounds a lot better than what it actually would be up close and personal. The insult really is that we are not allowed on it, but most of us wouldn't really want to be on it. However, they don't mean it as a compliment when they say, no, you don't get to be on that carousel. You don't get to form a part of that carousel. They don't mean it as a compliment when they preclude you or me or most of us from it. So the fact that they're precluding most of us from it means it really ain't your fault if you're precluded. It's like not getting into Harvard. It really doesn't say anything bad about you. It's like not becoming special forces when you're otherwise still in the military. It really doesn't say anything bad about you. Most folks won't be that. It's like being in the Navy and not becoming a Navy SEAL. Doesn't mean you're a bad soldier. Doesn't mean you're a bad sailor. Doesn't mean these things. It just means that you were not elite. And by definition, most can't be elite. There's no such thing as an elite majority. But what they want to do is they want us to be ignorant of this so that they can always, at any point, say certain things to make any individual man feel like he's at the bottom. And most of us fell for it. And that's why more of us don't speak up, fearing that the women who hear this will then be able to turn around and convince us that we're at the bottom, or convince each other that we're at the bottom, when in fact, most of you aren't necessarily at the bottom. You're just not at the top, that's all. See, men who actually say these truths, of course, are going to be accused of being at the bottom. They'll do that to me too without ever seeing me. Ever. Some may see my avatar and they'll turn around and accuse me of being at the bottom. They'll do this to you too. Without seeing you, they'll say, you sound like the kind of guy, so because I'm talking about games that ladies play, then that means that I'm at the bottom. That's how they want you. They want you to perceive that possibility before it even gets to that, so that you don't say anything about these games. And I'm telling you, gentlemen, her motive, whether the first motive, sexual addiction, or just a high libido, is there or not, doesn't matter. It is the third motive that is definitely there, and it is malice towards you, the normal man. There you have it. She said nothing about a financial motive. I don't have any reason to think that it's there. I doubt it. We can't tell if the first motive, high libido, or even an addiction is there. We can't really tell right now. But that third one, malice towards the normal man, that's there. And one thing that these ladies understand is that it's not really the chaste church-going woman that can insult your SMV It's not really her that can do that by saying, I wouldn't screw you, because that's the woman that wouldn't really screw anyone that's not her husband. That woman can't insult you by saying, I wouldn't do you. They got to go a lot further to insult you. But a loose floozy can insult any man, and by sleeping with 140 and bragging about it, that still leaves every other man in the town she then can insult. I'm just shocked to see that she has the motive to set herself up to be able to do it, and yet she is. Now, there are going to be some ladies who listen and say, I think you're making it all about y'all and it's really not that deep. I know, but it is about us. Because when you think about it, and they're going to be ladies, they're going to be, even a lot of you dudes may think, man, Black Mind is like, he's making it all about us. A lot of times it's about her. I'm saying that it is about her decision, but I'm also saying that their decisions are about us. And you got to understand that there's already an underlying level of malice in most ladies in the West. And that's why it is they don't believe in doing things like the little things, like making your plate or just trying to satisfy you in some way, form, or fashion, especially below the belt, unless there is a great stress they're going to bring to offset that. Because they can't brag about these things. They can't say, well, look, I make sure my man's nuts are empty and his stomach is full and that that it's worth it for him to get up and go out there and work and provide. That the home is comfortable. No. That's something they can't say something like that to their friends. You know how that goes. I mean, even in a hair salon, y'all saw the lady on Kevin Samuels talking about the job at the hair salon. They can't say this, and that hairdresser can't stand up to these women and say, dang. I told y'all remember, before that lady called in and talked about her job as a hairdresser, I said to you all what my mother told me back in 99 and 2000 about what these broads were saying in the hair salons. And she was saying to me, they are messy, son. And they pride themselves on going after guys like you and your brother and your friends here. The ones of you that are inexperienced. They don't take pride in doing these things to street dudes. They take pride in doing these things to you guys, from this neighborhood. My own mother explained it. Mind you, she didn't like it when I said that they wanted thugs and everything else, but she did say pretty much the same thing. This is back then. It cannot have gotten better. There is an underlying malice. This lady here is just one of the few that has more of it and is willing to degrade her own body, not only for some pleasure and not only to satisfy feminists by saying I'm liberated, but also to be able to rub in the faces of most of us. See, even I don't want you. So I hope that explains it. I'm not saying that's all there is, but I know that that's one of those things. And she's not the only one. Thank you for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, and Black heterosexual, non-select male power, just because women like her don't like it, and Black patriarchy until extinction or Judgment Day.